Parallel Realities, Where Controversies Are True, by David Rousseau. Introduction. Stepping Between Realities. What if everything you believed was true in one universe and utterly false in another? Imagine stepping through a doorway and seeing the world bend differently, where the ground beneath your feet stretches flat as a vast tabletop, or where the moon is never more than a distant glowing rock, untouched by human hands. Picture a sky where aliens walk openly among us, or a world where the internet was never born and knowledge travels at the speed of a horse. Each of these worlds is not a dream, not a fiction, but a reality that exists somewhere in the infinite web of possibilities. This book invites you on a journey through 10 parallel realities, each one shaped by a different truth. Here, controversies we debate endlessly. Science, history, technology, and belief aren't merely questions or theories. In these universes, they are fact. The Earth might truly be flat. Vaccines may have never existed. Governments may quietly control technologies beyond comprehension. History may have unfolded along paths we cannot imagine. As you travel through these universes, you will encounter worlds both familiar and strange, where human choices, cultural evolution, and knowledge itself take radically different forms. You will see how societies adapt when the impossible becomes ordinary, and how belief and perception shape what we call reality. Each chapter is a doorway, each story a mirror, reflecting not only the what-if of another universe, but the biases, doubts, and certainties that define our own. By the end of this journey, one question will linger: which universe are we truly living in? And if reality itself can vary so profoundly, how certain can we ever be of the truths we hold so dear? Step carefully. Open your mind. In the multiverse, nothing is as it seems, and everything is possible. Chapter 1. The Flat Earth Universe. The horizon stretches endlessly, a crisp line that never curves. No matter how far your eyes travel, ships disappear over the edge not because of curvature, but because the world dips into an unseen abyss. In this universe, the sky arcs like a painted dome, stars pinned to a ceiling above, moving in predictable circles rather than orbiting a spherical Earth. Navigation relies not on latitude and longitude as we know them, but on careful charts of edges, corners, and central poles. Mariners and explorers chart their courses with rituals, offerings, and telescopes attuned to the flat plane of the world. Society itself has evolved around this truth. Religious doctrines reverently describe the Earth as a vast, finite disk, and scientists debate the distances to the sun and moon not in kilometers or miles, but in degrees of light across the plane. Technology adapts. Satellites orbit in complex arcs above the disk, rather than the spherical orbits familiar to our universe. Airplanes follow strict corridor paths, avoiding the edges, and governments regulate knowledge carefully to prevent panic or disorientation. Schools teach the geometry of flat Earth planes as rigorously as we teach spheres and gravity in our world. Yet, human curiosity persists. Children stare skyward, wondering if the edges might harbor secrets, oceans spilling into nothingness, mountains suspended like islands above the void. Philosophers ponder whether the universe beyond the dome is infinite or deliberately hidden, and everywhere, debates rage. Some insist that distant lands are unreachable. Others claim daring expeditions have glimpsed the periphery. Here, controversy is not a matter of belief, it is reality. Every map, every telescope, every journey confirms the truth that we in our universe spend centuries disputing. In this world, you feel both the stability and the strangeness of certainty. Knowledge has shape, edges, and limits. The flat Earth is not a theory, it is home. And yet, as you wander the streets, watch the sun trace its slow arc, and gaze at oceans that vanish into distance, you cannot help but wonder, is the comfort of knowing a boundary also the prison of imagination? Chapter 2. The Moon Landing That Never Happened. In this universe, the moon remains untouched by human footsteps. It hangs in the night sky as a distant, silver sentinel, beautiful, mysterious, and unreachable. Televisions never broadcast astronauts planting flags or bouncing across its barren plains. Instead, newsreels show endless debates about funding, failed missions, and the stubborn challenges of space travel. The stars beckon, but the human imprint stops short. Rockets return with cargo, Satellites orbit dutifully, yet no footprints mark the lunar surface. Society has adapted to this absence of achievement. The space race never ignites the same fervor. Scientific ambition is cautious, measured, and often overshadowed by terrestrial concerns. Governments, once driven by rivalry and pride, now invest in incremental research rather than grand gestures. The Cold War's battles of ideology play out in factories, laboratories, and political arenas, not on distant worlds. The dream of humanity walking among the stars exists, but only as a whispered aspiration, a myth that grows taller with each generation that has never witnessed it realized. Psychologically, the absence of lunar conquest shapes culture. Children gaze at the moon and feel longing rather than triumph. Histories speak of what might have been, and philosophers debate whether human potential is defined by achievement or desire. Conspiracy theories never emerge here, they have no fertile ground, because the truth is simple and stark. Humans have never been there, and yet, the shadow of imagination persists. Movies, books, and art fill the void with what could have been, cultivating a collective hunger for a horizon humanity has never touched. Even so, curiosity cannot be contained. Engineers sketch new rockets, dreamers debate trajectories, astronomers map the moon's craters with the same reverence and awe we hold for ancient monuments. In this world, the moon landing is not a memory, it is a challenge, a provocation. The lesson of this universe is clear. Sometimes, the absence of proof carries more weight than the certainty of achievement. Humanity reaches for the stars, not yet knowing what it might find, or whether it will ever step beyond the edge of its home. Chapter 3. The Universe with Aliens Among Us. In this universe, the sky is no longer a symbol of mystery, it is a neighborhood. Extraterrestrials walk openly among humans, their forms, technologies, and customs woven into the rhythm of daily life. Cities hum with hybrid cultures, markets where alien foods mingle with human cuisine, schools where children learn languages spoken on distant worlds, streets where hovering vehicles glide alongside terrestrial cars. The extraordinary has become ordinary, yet wonder never fully fades. Society has shifted in ways subtle and profound. Governments collaborate openly with alien councils. Treaties extend beyond planets, not just nations. Religion evolves to accommodate cosmic neighbors, blending ancient beliefs with new revelations about sentient life. Philosophers and scientists debate the ethics of interspecies coexistence, the limits of empathy, and the definition of intelligence. Technology leaps ahead fueled by shared knowledge of propulsion, energy, and medicine, yet humanity still struggles with jealousy, fear, and the urge to assert dominance. In this universe, progress and tension are inseparable partners. Human identity, too, is in flux. The realization that we are not alone reshapes notions of self, ambition, and destiny. Children no longer dream solely of exploring space, they aspire to interstellar diplomacy, to understanding alien art, to bridging worlds. And yet, there are those who cling to nostalgia for a solitary Earth, mourning a time when humans were the only architects of culture and science. The coexistence of alien and human perspectives creates a society rich in creativity, but fraught with complex challenges, misunderstandings, prejudice, and the constant negotiation of power across species. In this reality, controversy becomes a daily ritual. Are aliens fully trustworthy? Should their technologies be integrated into human society? Can their moral frameworks coexist with ours? The answers are never simple, but the questions themselves redefine what it means to live, learn, and believe. Here, the extraordinary is normalized, and yet, the universe continues to challenge our assumptions. If we are not alone, what does it mean to be human, and how do we measure the value of truth in a cosmos shared with others? Chapter 4. The Vaccine-Free Universe. In this universe, diseases that we have long controlled or eradicated are constant companions. Measles, polio, and smallpox sweep through cities and villages alike, leaving populations vulnerable and governments burdened. Hospitals overflow, and streets are quieter as families quarantine their sick. Life expectancy is shorter, childhood is more fragile, and communities learn early to live with fear and loss. Illness shapes every decision, every institution, every ritual of daily life. Science and medicine have followed a different path. Research focuses on treatment rather than prevention, and physicians become masters of crisis management rather than public health. Schools teach children about contagion in detail, not as abstract biology, but as lived experience. Public campaigns emphasize hygiene, quarantine, and herbal remedies, while technological innovation lags. Constrained by the constant pressure of survival, societies are resilient but cautious, inventive but conservative, shaped by the ever-present shadow of preventable disease. Culture and belief are intertwined with this reality. Religious and folk practices flourish, blending prayer, ritual, and remedies into a system of protection. Communities rely on storytelling to warn of dangers, to share remedies, and to honor those lost. The absence of vaccines fuels both wisdom and fear. Wisdom in adaptation, fear in uncertainty. Debates over disease, causality, and morality dominate discourse, where in our world anti-vaccine sentiment can seem irrational. Here it is unnecessary. The question is not belief but the stark reality of vulnerability. Yet humanity persists. Creativity, compassion, and ingenuity emerge as survival tools. Scientists, inventors, and ordinary citizens constantly seek ways to mitigate the risks of illness. Societies are closer, more interdependent, bound by shared threats and shared responsibilities. In this universe, the lesson is clear. Trust in knowledge is not abstract, it is life itself. And controversies surrounding medicine are no longer hypothetical, they are lived, felt, and survived, shaping the very essence of human civilization. Chapter 5. The Universe Without the Internet. In this universe, the world hums with silence. Information travels slowly, carried by newspapers, radio waves, and human voices rather than glowing screens and fiber-optic cables. Knowledge is a treasure, painstakingly curated and fiercely protected. Libraries are vast fortresses of learning, their shelves crowded with books and manuscripts. Students copy notes by hand, journalists investigate tirelessly, and rumors spread no faster than a horse or a train. The pace of life is deliberate, measured, and, in some ways, profoundly human. Society has adapted to scarcity of instant connectivity. Politics moves with deliberation rather than viral momentum. Movements require face-to-face organizing, letters, and printed manifestos. Culture is local as much as global. Songs, stories, and ideas spread slowly, allowing communities to absorb them fully before the next wave arrives. Conspiracy theories exist, but they lack the amplification of mass networks. They grow quietly, whispered among the curious, debated in cafes, and printed in pamphlets rather than storming the feeds of millions. Economics and technology evolve differently. Corporations innovate, but competition is less frenetic, innovation slower, and monopolies harder to enforce without digital dominance. Human memory, interpersonal skill, and oral storytelling become vital assets. Social life revolves around shared spaces, cafes, theaters, town halls, and schools. Communities are tighter, yet smaller, and knowledge becomes power in a way that feels tangible, not abstract. Yet the absence of the internet leaves a vacuum, and the human mind fills it with wonder and worrying. People imagine lost connections, distant lands, and secrets kept just out of reach. Curiosity is sharpened, not dulled, and every letter, broadcast, and library trip carries the thrill of discovery. In this world, the lesson is clear. When information is rare, its value multiplies, and the trustworthiness of every story, every book, and every voice is both precious and fragile. Reality becomes a puzzle that must be pieced together with care, patience, and attention. A universe where truth is harder to find, yet somehow more meaningful. Chapter 6. The Climate-Controlled Universe. In this universe, the Earth breathes in balance. Decades ago, humanity united to halt climate change, and the results are visible everywhere. Forests flourish, rivers run clear, and glaciers stand pristine, glittering in the sunlight. Cities hum with clean energy. Transportation glides silently along electric grids, and towering wind turbines spin gracefully over rolling plains. The air smells fresh, the seas shimmer with life, and extreme weather has become a rare curiosity rather than a daily threat. Human civilization thrives in harmony with the planet. Proof that foresight, cooperation, and science can reshape destiny. Society itself has transformed. Economies pivot around sustainability, innovation, and conservation. Education emphasizes ecological literacy as much as mathematics or literature. Politicians debate policies for optimal growth and well-being rather than crisis management. Communities celebrate Earth Day as a weekly ritual, not a symbolic gesture. People live with a profound awareness of their role as caretakers of the planet, not merely its inhabitants. Art, culture, and philosophy bloom under skies once threatened by smoke and storms. Poetry praises balance, and science is revered not just for progress, but for preservation. Yet even in this idealized world, human nature persists. Conflicts arise over resource allocation, technological ethics, and intergenerational responsibilities. The debates are different, but they are no less intense. How far should humans go in controlling nature? Should species be revived, rivers redirected, or whether managed artificially? Ethics and power intertwine, and the stakes are planetary. Here, controversies are not about denial, but about stewardship. How much control over the world is too much, and how much is enough? The lesson of this universe is luminous and unsettling. Collective action can change the course of history, but only if humans act together with purpose, knowledge, and empathy. And yet, as you walk beneath the thriving forests or gaze at calm oceans, you cannot help but wonder if such unity is possible in every world, or if, in most realities, humanity's short-sightedness dooms it to fight the consequences of its own choices. Chapter 7: The Ancient Aliens Universe, Pyramids and Mysteries. In this universe, the pyramids of Egypt rise not solely from human ambition, but with guidance from beings who arrived from the stars. Their hands shaped stone with uncanny precision, their knowledge of geometry and astronomy far beyond anything previously imagined. The Great Pyramid aligns perfectly with Orion's belt. Hidden chambers hum with alien energy, and inscriptions hint at technologies and philosophies unfamiliar to modern science. Walking through these colossal monuments, you feel the weight of centuries, and something more, a resonance of minds beyond Earth, whispering secrets across millennia. Human civilization here advanced rapidly under alien mentorship. Engineering, mathematics, medicine, and art leapt ahead by centuries, spurred by instruction from beings whose understanding of the cosmos dwarfed our own. Cities grew in sophistication, cultures flourished, and philosophical thought expanded to accommodate not just terrestrial knowledge, but cosmic awareness. Scholars debated ethics, physics, and the meaning of life in ways that blended human curiosity with extraterrestrial insight. Religion evolved to reflect both the divine and the alien, shaping societies with awe, reverence, and sometimes fear. Yet the presence of these beings did not erase human agency. Humans adapted, learned, and experimented, sometimes misunderstanding the alien guidance, sometimes improving upon it. Conflicts arose, philosophies clashed, and mysteries persisted because even in this universe of accelerated knowledge, curiosity and ambition remain inherently human. Travelers through desert sands hear winds whisper across the stone corridors, faint echoes of distant humming, as if the pyramids themselves remember the union of two civilizations. In comparison to our universe, controversy here is irrelevant, the evidence is undeniable. But for humans accustomed to the notion that we built the pyramids alone, the experience is humbling, disorienting, and exhilarating. You are reminded that history may hold layers of truth, far stranger than imagination allows, and that knowledge, guidance, and discovery can come from places we have yet to fully comprehend. In this reality, the extraordinary becomes ordinary, and yet wonder persists in every carved stone, every alignment, every echo of the ancient and the alien. Chapter 8: The Quantum Conspiracy Universe. In this universe, governments have mastered the impossible. Teleportation, time travel, and reality-altering technologies exist, but only in secret. Streets hum with normalcy, offices buzz with work, and children play in parks, unaware that the fabric of their world is being subtly manipulated. The ordinary masks the extraordinary. Ordinary citizens trust the institutions around them. Yet every experiment, every hidden protocol, is a demonstration of power few can comprehend and none can contest. Knowledge itself has become both a weapon and a secret. Society thrives under layers of unseen influence. Economies are stabilized by predictive algorithms that no one fully understands. Wars are averted, disasters mitigated but not announced, for fear of panic. Ethics becomes a daily puzzle for those in control. Who deserves the knowledge, the ability to reshape events, to erase mistakes or accelerate progress? Philosophers debate the morality of secrecy when the consequences are cosmic. The power absolute. The very notion of free will becomes complicated when time and space can be bent at will, and history can be nudged, edited, or rewritten before anyone notices. Yet human curiosity persists, always probing boundaries. Conspiracy theories, dismissed in our universe, here carry a subtle kernel of truth. Whispers, rumors, and hidden messages circulate among the most attentive minds, hinting at the reality behind the curtain, and those who suspect, who experiment in their own ways, must tread carefully. A misstep could erase not just evidence, but memory itself. In this universe, skepticism is not paranoia, it is survival. The lesson is unsettling. When reality itself can be manipulated, truth becomes both fragile and subjective. What can be trusted when governments hold the keys to time, space, and existence itself? And yet, even under such overwhelming control, the human mind reaches outward, yearning to understand, to glimpse the machinery behind the curtain. In this universe, the extraordinary is not just possible, it is hidden in plain sight, challenging every assumption about power, knowledge, and the very nature of reality. Chapter 9. The universe where history was rewritten. In this universe, the past is a stranger. The American Revolution failed, leaving a continent still tethered to a distant crown. The Library of Alexandria survived, its walls brimming with scrolls of lost knowledge, technologies, philosophies, and sciences that never existed in our timeline. Empires rose and fell differently. Kings, inventors, and prophets left marks on the world that are unrecognizable to us. Walking through cities, you sense history's pulse, an alternate rhythm of achievement, failure, and human ambition, reshaped by the choices of another reality. Society reflects the echoes of these altered events. Knowledge is vast and fragmented in ways unfamiliar. Some civilizations advance centuries ahead of what we know, while others lag behind, constrained by alternate political and cultural forces. Education, governance, and art take forms we would call alien, yet natural to those who inhabit this timeline. People debate truths that are self-evident in their world but impossible in ours. Maps chart continents whose borders, names, and stories differ entirely from what we expect. The past is no longer a foundation, it is a labyrinth, and humans navigate it carefully, learning from alternate triumphs and disasters alike. The psychological impact is profound. Citizens grow up accepting a history that feels inevitable, yet readers from our universe recognize its impossibility. Philosophers ponder what it means to know the truth, when every fact is contingent on choices that never occurred in our timeline. Historical revisionism, here, is reality. The line between myth and fact is blurred not by error, but by circumstance. Every monument, every law, every tradition carries the weight of paths humanity did not take, yet still shape the people who walk in this world. In this universe, the lesson is humbling. History is not a single story. It is a web of possibilities. Knowledge, power, and culture are contingent on decisions, accidents, and chance. To inhabit this reality is to understand the fragility of what we call truth and the infinite potential that resides in every crossroads of human action. Time itself becomes a canvas, painted with choices both realized and abandoned, leaving us to wonder how many versions of the past and ourselves exist, just beyond the reach of our memory. Chapter 10. The Universe of Parallel Beliefs. In this universe, every controversy you have ever debated is not just possible, it is true. The Earth is flat. Humans never walked on the moon. Extraterrestrials walk openly among us. And vaccines were never developed. History unfolds differently everywhere you look, simultaneously contradictory and coherent. People live with multiple truths at once, navigating a reality where belief and evidence no longer align. where logic bends to accommodate paradox, and certainty is a luxury no one can afford. Society in this universe is extraordinary and fragile. Education teaches multiple, conflicting truths as fact. Governance is built on negotiation and perception rather than absolute knowledge. Citizens debate passionately, yet no resolution is ever final, for every position is valid in some corner of existence. Religion, philosophy, and science adapt to a world of contradictions, learning to embrace ambiguity rather than fear it. Human creativity and resilience flourish, but so does anxiety. The mind strains under the weight of simultaneous realities, searching for coherence in the impossible. Psychologically, life here is a constant exercise in flexibility. People must cultivate empathy, curiosity, and open-mindedness to survive in a world where others' truths may literally be different from their own. Conflict arises not from malice, but from the challenge of reconciling competing realities. Memory, perception, and judgment are tested continuously, forcing humanity to question what it means to know, to trust, and to believe. In this universe, truth is not a fixed point, it is a spectrum, a multicolored prism through which every event, idea, and discovery can be understood, differently depending on where and how you observe it. Inhabitants of this reality live with wonder and caution, navigating a multiverse of possibilities that collapse and diverge in every conversation, every decision, every thought, and as you walk among them, you are reminded of the malleability of your own world, that even here, in our singular reality, belief, perception, and controversy shape how we experience life. The lesson is clear and profound. Reality may be more flexible, more contradictory, and more fascinating than any one universe could contain, and the human mind is both fragile and extraordinary in its ability to hold it all. Conclusion: which universe are we living in? After traveling through 10 parallel realities, you return to your own world and yet nothing feels the same. The boundaries of truth, once assumed solid and immutable, now seem fragile, shifting under the weight of possibility. Each universe we visited: flat Earth, the moon landing that never happened, aliens among us, a vaccine-free world, a planet without the internet, climate salvation, ancient alien mentorship, secret quantum technologies, rewriting history, and a reality of parallel beliefs has exposed a simple yet profound truth. Reality is as much a product of perception, belief, and choice as it is of fact. Controversy, it seems, is not merely a disagreement, it is a lens through which we view the limits of knowledge. In some universes, human ingenuity triumphs. In others, ignorance or secrecy prevails. Societies evolve differently, cultures diverge, and individuals are shaped by the truths they inhabit. And yet, across every possibility, one pattern emerges: curiosity, skepticism, and the desire to understand define humanity more than any objective reality ever could. Facts may change, history may rewrite itself, and technology may hide in plain sight, but the drive to question, explore, and imagine remains constant. Perhaps our world is no less strange, uncertain, or fascinating than any of these universes. Each controversy, each debate, each mystery we wrestle with in our own reality may be a reflection of something larger. The limits of our knowledge, the biases of our perception, and the flexibility of human understanding. The multiverse reminds us that certainty is rare, and that truth may exist in layers, sometimes contradictory, sometimes hidden, always evolving. Step back, question what you know, and consider: could the universe you experience be just one version of many? And if so, how might that awareness change the way you live, learn, and believe? In the end, exploring parallel realities is not just an exercise of imagination. It is an invitation to see our own world with new eyes, to embrace uncertainty, and to marvel at the boundless possibilities that lie just beyond the edge of our perception.